I am joined by one of my favorite guys. I love listening to him on Bill Simmons. I mean, listen, this guy had from the Man Show to Jimmy Kimmel Show, Sports Geniuses. I even remember Win Ben Stein's Money. So you've had a great career. It's the great Cousin Sal. We got a lot to talk about. You're coming back to Vegas to Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club. You and I, last time I saw you, do you remember the disgusting thing we did together?
We did. Are you talking about on camera or off camera when we went downtown? Oh no, yeah, no. It was something with a terrible drink. I remember
We
was
did,
involved, right?
we did like a Jello shot together at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club in honor of March Madness with, I believe it was like there was like whipped cream involved. It was gross.
Yeah. It was whipped cream involved. My friend Harry was involved, and it was actually St. Patrick's Day, so we used the excuse to get extra stupid.
It was a lot of fun. I definitely got strep throat from that experience from Harry. So I want to thank Harry for that. Listen, before we get into all the excitement going down, because we got Hoops Madness March 20th and March 21st, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. You're going to be hanging out at the link.
Actually, 4 p.m.
Oh,
to 10 p.m. I don't want people showing up early. I don't want people showing up at all, really. No, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. For the later afternoon games. That's what Thursday and Friday.
okay. All right. And those are the best 2 days of March Madness. So
The best.
we'll learn a little bit more about what's going down with that. But right now, the big topic is NFL free agency. We got to talk to you about some of these moves that are going down. You're a big, Cowboys fan. You're always, look at your face. You're always disgusted talking about it with Bill Simmons. Tell me what's going on. What is going on with this franchise? Like,
You think I know? The owner doesn't know what's going on with this franchise. I'm supposed to figure it out. It's yeah, it's a disaster. And I know for free agency they said they were going to be selectively aggressive. Nobody in their right mind knows what the hell that means. But selectively aggressive, they re-signed the long snapper and the punt returner. And so we're good, man. We're good on special teams. So I don't, all the other teams should be jealous at this point.
is there any way out of this? I mean, because Jerry obviously is not going to let go until his last dying breath. But then you
Right.
got Stephen Jones and the rest of the Jones family there. So what is the path to figuring this whole thing out? Because the Schottenheimer hire, I mean, it just nothing computes to me. And I'm not such a smart guy, and I can't figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, you're not a smart guy. I keep saying that. No, I listen, the Schottenheimer, nothing against Schottenheimer, but they just go about everything the wrong way, right? No, he wasn't on anyone's radar. They hired him because they can manipulate him. And back to your original point, I don't know that Stephen Jones, if and when the day comes, is better option than Jerry Jones. They keep making the same stupid mistakes over and over, and it was just a matter of time before Washington got better. And guess what? The Giants are going to be aren't going to be terrible forever either. So, and the Eagles are the freaking champs. So that's tough. Their window might have closed with the Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, CD Lamb triumphant there, but I hope not. I don't know. I mean, I really haven't been this down on this team, and they've had worse teams. I haven't been this down on this team in a long time.
Does Micah stay? Are they going to get that done, or do you think he ends up leaving?
It's so funny because Myles Garrett signed for the Browns, right? And everybody immediately talked about Micah Parsons, like what this means. He's going to ask for the moon. So now he has said he's going to ask for a fair contract. But maybe now, seeing what the Browns did with Myles Garrett, what some of these other big name free agents are getting, he may demand he could sit too. I mean, anything's on the table with these guys.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. Here in Vegas, I want to ask you a couple questions with the Raiders. So, I mean, obviously, Geno Smith is now the new quarterback here. They trade a third-round pick for that. That's good. I think it's a solid move, stopgap. It's a guy who can come in, and Pete Carroll wants to win now. But do you still think Bill Simmons was floating this on his pod recently, thinking that, if Shador were to fall to 6, he should really be in play as well, even with Geno in the fold and the connection that he has with Brady? What do you think the Raiders should do as they're kind of, trying to escape this limbo situation of the NFL where, can you really compete in the AFC West, but you also want to get better and create a good culture and foundation? What would you do if you were John Spytek and Pete Carroll at that number 6 spot for the draft?
Yeah, so I mean, it's weird because I was talking about this morning about how we don't know that any team has to take a quarterback in the first round. You'd think the Giants would, but this is the first time in years where you couldn't line up three teams that had to absolutely use their first round pick on a quarterback. And that kind of falls in line with what the Raiders are thinking. Maybe they could go a couple years with Geno, but if no one wants Shador Sanders, they wouldn't have to pay the price that they normally would. And by the way, everything Tom Brady touches turns to gold. So this really could work out for them. The Geno Smith signing in general, I think is fine. I don't know. You want to get to third best in that division, right? You want to do what Denver did this past year. You want to sneak in
Right.
and maybe upset somebody in the wild card round. But I don't know that they're actually third best in the division yet. But I feel like there is some momentum, and like you said, creating a winning culture. They might be on their way.
Yeah, especially getting Max Crosby back. And for a few
Right.
days before Myles Garrett, he was the highest paid non quarterback in NFL history. Real quickly, before we get back to the Hoops Madness stuff, we're talking with Cousin Sal. He's coming to Vegas here, Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club. Those first 2 days, maybe the best 2 days to be a sports fan on planet Earth, that Thursday and Friday, March 20th and 21st, you can hang with Cousin Sal and a lot of great guys. Tate Frazier, Kenny Mayne, all these people at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club. So real quickly, I think as a Cowboys fan, the interesting thing is I think a lot of people, as we're seeking what's going to happen in free agency, it's the Brock Purdy deal that could be impending is very fascinating to me. Of course, this is a franchise, the 49ers. Their window to win on this rookie contract, it's closed, baby. It's gone. Now you're a guy who's a Cowboys fan. Dak Prescott has the highest, largest cap hit out of any player in the NFL, $60 million, more than anybody on a singular year. What would you do if you're John Lynch, you're the GM, you traded Debo, you lost Dre Greenlaw, you lost Javon Hargrave, you lost Ward, you lost Juszczyk is gone. I mean, the whole team is starting to dismantle. What do you do with a guy like Brock Purdy? Where would you be comfortable signing him? What kind of cap hit? What should he really truly be making when we look at what Darnold made, when we look at what Geno's probably going to make? What do you think, and how would you attack that situation?
I think you give him as much as they gave Darnold. I think he's right up in there. And there's just a bunch of teams who are stuck with quarterbacks in that 10 to 15th best range. But I still think it's worth it rather than taking a chance on somebody coming in, free agent, like we've seen. And I think Purdy is a winner at least, right? So you took away all that talent. And it's tough with the 49ers. It really is. You listed all those names. I think they're going to have 13 of 22 starters from a year and a half ago are going to be gone. And that's unheard of in the league. And just in just 12 months for that to happen is really, and I'm interested in seeing what their over under for wins is. But I still think Brock Purdy is a winner. He knows how to win. He was unfortunate. Probably his best years when he got hurt against Philly in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I do think he's worth re-signing. Whatever. With the receivers, it's tough. You got 10 guys who ran a sub 4.4 this year at the combine. So you can pick guys up in the second, third round. I didn't think Debo was that effective when he wasn't running the ball and when he wasn't playing, obviously. So, but if you're John Lynch, I think you get Purdy signed and at least to make the fans happy.
Yeah, I'm just hoping it's not in that Tua range, because if he starts creeping up into the 50s, it's going to be hard to win with the surrounding stuff. But it's still a win. I mean, it's still a successful tenure for me, for Lynch and Shanahan. You lost twice in the Super Bowl, one with Jimmy G, one with Purdy, both to Mahomes. What are you going to do?
And with Mr. Irrelevant, let's face it, right? I mean, Mr. Irrelevant, that doesn't happen. We're the very last pick in the draft, has a come to Jesus moment and just runs the league. Now, I get it. He's hot and cold, but I still think he's worth the risk.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so let's talk a little bit of this March Madness excitement going on. Who are you looking right now? I mean, obviously, the talk of the town when it comes to college basketball is Cooper Flagg and Duke. Tell me some of the teams, some of the sleepers you would be considering, dark horses that we should be looking at right now as we're approaching March Madness and this excitement of the season.
All right, sleeper. So like double digit favorite, double digit seed. I would say, you know what? I'll give you Drake. Drake.
Ooh.
Drake the rapper, maybe not has had the best year, but the basketball team's impressive. The Bulldogs, they won the Missouri Valley Championship. They could pull off a round one upset and more. And Utah State, too. Always a surprise team in the Mountain West. Both should be about 10 seeds, poised to win a couple games. If you want to give me like a 3 or 4 seed, I kind of think Maryland could be a tough 3 or 4 seed. Not very deep, but as good of a starting 5 as any. So those would be my 3 to look at. If I had to pick a favorite, it's a different story. But I don't even know if you want to. Yeah.
Well, some of the let's hear some of the favorites and maybe some of the favorites that people would be thinking that you're going to even stick away from as well.
Well, I mean, it's really stupid to say, you know, I had Jay Billis on last week and he's like, Auburn, just ride Auburn as far as you can. And I do love them. You know, they've been great. They play in that competitive SEC. I almost think playing the tougher competition all year might hurt them. And if I had to go between them and Duke, I like Duke. I know Cooper Flag is all the talk and it's a real chalk pick here, but they're going to be right there, I think, to cut down the nets at the end. You know, don't count out Tom Izzo's team right there with Michigan State. You know, in past years, they've been like an 8 or 9 seed, so it was very hard for them to get out of that first weekend. Yeah. They could be as good as a 1 seed if everything, right now at this point, you're looking at them as a 2 seed. So I think they can make some noise too.
What's the biggest takeaway you've learned from all these years of watching March Madness and being in the mix and all that stuff? What would you say? Because I think it's hard. We learn these lessons and then we completely forget about them, you know, 2 weeks later. So what are some of those, you know, core tenets that you try to keep a tight grip on and remember year after year that can lead you to success?
Well, I try not to get lost in the hoopla from the 1980s and 90s. It's easy when filling out a bracket to make Kansas win 3 or 4 games. But if you've watched them, I don't think they've won 3 straight since January 1st this year.
Right.
You know, same with a team like maybe Arizona. You might just put the AZ because it's easier to advance in there. So I think you got to do some research. You have to take some of these up and coming teams. How long was Gonzaga good before you actually had them winning anything on your bracket? So just do a little research. It's all there for you. By the way, I have my pad that I fill out. I don't know if you could see this.
Let's see some of your research. Look at this.
It's really, really dumb because I understand, like, this is stuff that you could get online.
Oh my Lord.
You could see.
And this is spectrum level stuff here.
Yes, exactly. I have color coordinated everything. The kids have like a bunch of colored pencils around that they don't do anything with. I'm like, let me color out last 4 buys, first 4 in, and you know, the first 4 buy, all that stuff. And but yes, like I said, I think you can find some of the stuff online. And I do the tournaments too. The conference tournaments.
Yeah.
Are all mapped out too. Very stupid waste of time.
Do you put a lot of credence into teams that might not be having the strongest season, but they show out big and you carry that momentum from winning the conference championship? Do you like those types of teams generally, or you try to stay away? How big of a momentum thing is that for you?
It depends where they are, right? Like if they were a top 10 or 15 team all year, but weren't expected to win their conference tournament, but did, I like that. If they were like a 9 seed, like I think Oregon won their conference last year, you know, and they played well in the tournament too, but you know, it doesn't necessarily, you don't want to say just because they had a good 3 days means that they're going to go far when they're lining up against the big boys. So I try to, you know, I like coaches. I go for coaches. I look at coaches that I don't know, and I look at their jackets. And if they're wearing like raggedy jackets, I'm like, wow, this is good. They're not focused on attire. They're more focused on the X's and O's.
So you're saying we want the opposite of like GQ Pat Riley. The exact.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that works in college basketball. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't been fleshed out the data on it, but I'm pretty sure.
So your final pick, the team you're taking, it's Auburn or Duke. Where are you going?
Yeah, I'll go Duke. I know, you know, I don't know if my cousin Jimmy will allow me to come to the comedy club now at this point if I'm taking Duke. He's a big running Rebs fan, and they had their number. Well, they traded off back in the late 80s. But yeah, I'm going to take Duke to win it. I think you get about 3.5 to 1 on that.
100%. All right. So tell us a little bit about what's the vibe like? I mean, I was there and it was just the best kind of debauchery I mean, if you're a dude and you love basketball, you love sports, this is the place to be. Thursday, March 20th, Friday the 21st. You can go to the jimmykimmelscomedyclub.com for tickets, for admission. It's going to be a great time. It's free admission, but there's going to be giveaways, raffles, all that kind of stuff, and you can learn all about the excitement. Tell us a little bit just what the vibe's like. Why is this a perfect vibe?
Because there's lots of nudity and it's Vegas, right? I mean, you'll likely see my college friend Harry whip his shirt off in celebration at some point, but that I guess would require him to win a bet. So maybe there's not a lot of celebrating.
He's like a middle-aged Sydney Sweeney with like an East Coast accent, you know?
Yeah, he's Sydney Sweet Tooth, I think we could call him. Yeah. Yeah, speaking of, there's good food at the Kimmel Club. There's brisket tacos and giant pretzels. It's worth it to fly from Des Moines just for that. There's also a non-alcoholic drink named after me with grenadine and cherry juice, but we're going to give away thousands of dollars in prizes and trivia contests and physical challenges, and you get to hang out with my band of lunatics.
It's going to be amazing. A lot of guys from The Ringer. We love Kenny Mayne, a former UNLV guy who is just here in the studio with us. He'll be there as well, so there's going to be a lot of fun. And listen, you come to Vegas, you got a bunch of things on the docket, a lot of things on the agenda, and then you can also add this into the mix to watch these games. It's a great place to be. Cousin Sal, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us any last things you want to mention.
That's it. March 20th and 21st. I also have on Splash Sports, I have a $50,000. It's a 50K melee. It's an eliminator pool. Do you do eliminator pools for the March Madness?
Yes, I love that. I like that as well. Oh, so tell us about that. That sounds awesome.
This is sponsored by Splash Sports, who's also sponsoring this this outing at the Kimmel Club, March 20th and 21st. But yeah, you put someone's going to get 50,000. They guarantee 50,000, even if it's just you and I entering the contest.
Really?
They're going to give one of us $50,000 for picking just one winner a day for every day of the tournament.
Oh, so that's a nice way to do it, because you got the bracket component, then you got the eliminator concept going at the same time. So to have both of those going is the way to go. It's the great Cousin Sal. Thanks so much for joining us, for spending some time, and we'll see you the 20th and 21st, Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club. Great place to be. And listen, don't take any shots with Harry. That's the right. Key. If you don't want strep throat, just do not partake in that. Even if he looks semi like Sydney Sweeney, you're gonna be compelled, but don't do it.
Right. He doesn't look anything, unfortunately, like Sydney Sweeney. On the other hand, if you leave Vegas only with strep throat, I think that's a win.
Exactly. They used to call it back in the old day with Vegas and Sinatra. Have you ever heard the term Vegas throat? Have you ever heard that?
I think I have. Yeah.
It was like an old.
It's the smoking, though, right? It's most of the smoking. Yeah. That's why. That's why our friend nephew Kyle is going to be there producing. He loves. It's legal to smoke everywhere in Vegas, so he's going to serve as our bouncer in case people start groping Kenny and Harry.
This is the debauchery you can get in on for March Madness, the 20th, 21st of March, Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club at the link. Cousin Sal, great to see you, man. We'll see you here for the 20th and 21st of Hoops Madness. Thank you so much.
Love it. Very excited. Thanks for having me, pal.
All right, we'll see you next time.